Hey, welcome back. It's Simon Lees here again, and time to give you another guitar lesson. This time I'm going to talk about harmonics. There's various different ways you can do harmonics on the guitar, and I'm going to show you some of the basic ones. Now, what a harmonic is, it's when you divide the string into equal sections. So if you find the halfway point along the string, basically the string starts at the place where it goes over the saddle, and it finishes at the nut at the other end. The halfway point is the 12th fret, and on many guitars that's the one that's got two dots. That's why people make a big song and dance about it, because it's a special fret. It's the halfway point along the string. If you touch the string really lightly, so you're not pressing it down as you normally would, you need to position your finger so that your finger, or the part of your finger which touches the string, is absolutely in line with the metal fret itself. So it's not where you'd normally press the string down. It's not in between the frets. It's actually bang on in line with the metal fret. See if I can do it this way. So that's where the fret is, and that's exactly where you want to touch the string on the 12th fret. So what happens when you do that and you pick the string and then you take your finger off immediately, you get this sound. So it's a bit of a chicken and egg thing. People tend to get the two movements at exactly the same time, and you've got to make sure that you pick the string first and then take your finger off. But you can't hang about. You've got to take your finger off as soon as you've picked the string. So pick the string and then take your finger off. It works on all the strings. So you've got and there are other frets you can do this on as well. The 7th fret is a good one, because the 7th fret, believe it or not, is a third of the way along the string. So that's another place where you can get harmonics. So try there. As I'm going up the string, I'm using my spare third finger on this hand to dampen the one that I've just played, so I can keep the notes separate if I want to do it that way. Another place where you can get harmonics is on the 5th fret. So far we've got 12, 7 and 5. The 5th fret is another special one, because that's the quarter of the way along the string. It's also exactly halfway between the nut and the 12th fret. So it's a bit surprising in a way, because you think the 6th fret is going to be halfway between the nut and the 12th fret, but because the frets get narrower as they go along, it's actually the 5th fret which is at the halfway mark. So now you might find if you're not getting that harmonic clearly, then you need to just check and make sure that your finger is absolutely in line with the fret, or that the part of your skin on your finger which is touching that string, it needs to be absolutely smack on. So I say again, it's not where you'd normally press the string down. So if you were playing the 5th fret, you normally put your finger in between the two frets like that. So when to get the harmonic, your finger has got to be directly in line with the metal fret. So if you're not sure whether it's that one or that one, because obviously as guitarists we normally count the spaces, but if you count the metal frets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's the one, as you look at it, it's the one nearest the guitar body. So that works if you're left-handed as well. Okay, so the magic frets are 12, 7 and 5. If you go lower than 5, you'll find other ones as well. They're quite tricky to get. You've got to be so precise, but the 4th fret is another one. So I might need to turn it up a little bit. See, it's quite difficult to get a clean sound. You need enough treble on your amp to be able to get those notes to ring out, and also distortion helps quite a bit as well. So at the moment I've got my volume on the guitar quite low, and what that does, it reduces the amount of distortion. So if you didn't already know this, you can use your volume control on your guitar as a kind of distortion control. So if you've got it really low, you know, you can. So you sort of get a nice mild sound, and then, you know, so you can get all the way to full on metal, you know. Right, okay, so I've talked about the open string harmonics, if you like, so the ones based on the 12th, the 7th and the 5th fret. Now what I want to do is talk about something that I use a heck of a lot, and that's tapped harmonics. Tapped harmonics works on the same principle as these harmonics, and what you do, if I choose a fret somewhere in this end of the neck, so it's sort of not too high up, so I'm gonna play a note on the 7th fret on the G string, and I want to play a tapped harmonic based on that note. What I'm going to do is count up 12 frets, or a better way to do it is use the dots. You'll find I'm on the 3rd dot there. That's the 12th fret, and if I go 3 dots after the 12th fret, that will be 12 frets above where my finger is, you know. So if I want to do a tapped harmonic there, that's what it sounds like. And what I'm doing, I'm using one of my fingers. It doesn't really matter which finger I use. When I do tapping, I tend to use my 2nd finger, and I kind of curl my plectrum in the crook of my 1st finger. So I always tend to use my 2nd finger if I'm doing normal tapping, you know. And the same if I'm doing tapped harmonics. Now the way tapped harmonics works is I'm trying to bounce my tapping finger off that fret, and I say it's the, so you can forget this dot. Dean have been very decorative with this guitar. They've given me more dots than you would normally get on a fretboard. So if you sort of count 1, 2, 3, so forget that one, and then it's 1, 2, 3 after the 12th fret. So I'm trying to get the string to bounce off that fret. And to do it, I'm using a whipping movement. So I'm actually kind of pulling my finger away almost before it's hit the string, so that my finger spends as little time as possible touching the string. So, you know, I want to keep it away from the string if I can. But you can get quite a bit of volume with this if you can give it a real whack. Keep your finger loose so it's kind of floppy, and I say try and sort of almost pull it away just before it's hit the string. You know, imagine it's electrified and you don't want to get electrocuted. It shouldn't be. Check your wiring. So that's the 12th fret. 12 frets above the note that I'm playing. Now, like I showed you with the what they call the natural harmonics, they work on the 12th fret, the 7th fret, and the 5th fret. And the tapped harmonics kind of work the same way. I'm going 12 frets above there, and if I count back, so 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, bit more tricky to get that one, which is 7 frets above where my finger is, but it still works, you know. So my finger's on the 7th fret and I'm tapping the 14th fret, so that's the same as you know, the 7th fret harmonic. Because again, what's happening is where I'm tapping the string is exactly 1/3 of the way between where my finger is and where the string passes over the saddle. So again, I'm dividing the string into equal sections. And in the same way as you can do harmonics on the open strings on the 5th fret, if I count 5 frets above where my finger is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's the 12th fret. I do find it helps a little bit if you put a slight vibrato with your left hand as you do the tap. Not sure why. I think maybe it stops your finger staying on the string for too long because you're moving the string. So you can mix them up. You can, you know. So I mentioned the 4th fret before. If I go down to the 11th fret, you can just about The other thing that makes this technique easier is having strings that are quite new. If you put a brand new set of strings on this, the harmonics will just jump out at you. You know, it's difficult to avoid them. So yeah, that's basically all I wanted to talk about. Now, you can you obviously do them on single strings. It works on the fast strings just as well as it works on the thin strings. You know, if I want to do on the 7th fret on the fat E. In a way, they work a little bit better because the string's got a bit more substance to it, and it sort of gives it a bit, the string's got a bit more weight, so it's got more momentum. The notes tend to last longer, they don't fade away so quickly. So I've got managed to get another one there. It's worth experimenting, you know. You don't just have to stick to one string. You know, you can do 2 strings at a time if you want. This is something I quite often do. So if I'm doing a chord, so if I'm doing like a D power chord there, I can tap harmonica on those 2 notes. Same way, I'm going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to tap them on that fret. Obviously, if I'm tapping 2 strings at a time on the same fret, my finger has got to line up with the fret. So I need to get my finger kind of vertical. And again, I'm putting a bit of vibrato on the strings as well. I can see if I was doing a major bar chord, so you know, so I was including the B string in that, I could just move those 2 fingers down a string. So what I tend to do with the tapped harmonics is I use them when I get bored. So if I'm playing a note that rings out for any length of time, instead of just holding that note, I like to kind of do something with it. And so with a chord, if a chord just kind of... that kind of thing. So it's yeah, it's just it's another thing that piano players can't do unless they've got special buttons on their synthesizer. Yeah, so it's just a cool thing you can do with the guitar without having to have any fancy equipment. You know, it's just something that the guitar can do. So yeah. There's another type of harmonics which I'll talk about on another video. It's a bit more tricky to perfect, but for natural harmonics and tapped harmonics, that's all you need to know, I think. So give them a go, have fun, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.